Hello, I'm Darren. I'm from Movie Reviews 101, and today it is the free ups and the free downs for Stan and Ollie. Directed by John S. Baird and starring Steve Coogan, John C. Reilly, and Shirley Henderson. And the story here follows the reunion tour between Laurel and Hardy after their fall from grace, after their contractual disagreements with studios in the late 30s, and they're doing a tour of UK hoping to secure rights to make their own Robin Hood movie. And it's about how they have to put things aside from their past, work together, and see whether they still are the iconic double act the Hollywood studios love and know. So we're going to go straight into the free ups. So, up number one. Up number one has to be the performances. Steve Coogan and John C. Reilly are absolutely fantastic together. They show the chemistry you could imagine Laurel and Hardy having on and off screen, even in their individual scenes. There's constant jokes which work, and they can only deliver in their own way. I just feel like both of these two guys have shown that they are true comedy greats. We all know, Britain especially knows Steve Coogan, America knows John C. Reilly. Two worlds collide, perfect casting, great. And you have to also take into account that the two women, Shirley Henderson and Nina, who I cannot pronounce her last name, playing Ida and Lucille, the wives, are also great, showing us the emotion needed to try and keep their husbands grounded with their problems that they've had in their past. So that's got to be talked about. I think they're some of the best performances of the year. Then we have to go and look at the comedy. Some of the comedy in this movie is fantastic. Like watching their little tours and their routines on stage, they felt as natural as they would have been, and I just love watching. I'm not the biggest comedy fan, and I just loved watching these routines. They worked, they clicked, and everything about them is something we need to see more. And then you have to do learning about how the final one's got to be learning about how the two came back together to start their tour, and how they have lived very different lives, but there's a friendship between the two that's just there, whether they like it or not, whether they've liked decisions each other have made. It's there, they love and respect each other, and it's just, there's a friendship that doesn't seem like it's that close, but is perfectly next to each other almost. So that has to be looked at, so really good. So that's the free ups. Now it's going to be the free downs, which is going to be technically difficult to think about. The first one is, if you do want the full history of Laurel and Hardy, this movie is not going to be the movie for you. It has to be said. This shows them at their peak, about 5 minutes of what happened to cause their breakup almost, and then we're at the reunion tour. You have snippets of what caused their breakup, but there's never a truly how they first broke into Hollywood, how they got to Hollywood, what happened with their first movie, or any of their movies. You're not going to learn too much about Laurel and Hardy as the Hollywood grace. This is just the reunion and the farewell tour, almost, as we see in the synopsis. The tour does feel really confusing. They jump up and down Britain, all this, and I got so confused where they were going. Why isn't it just like this, like they do with tours? They kind of snake down or up, whichever way you want to look at it. They just seem to go boing, 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 and it didn't make sense. I also missed, because it was so flush and you don't know where they end up, you miss a few things. The final thing again is, another nitpick one is, seeing how these guys had to deal with these contracts back in the day. You learn just how corrupt the Hollywood business was, like when they tied actors down to contracts. Not nice to see, and not nice to see how it could have done so much damage to such a brilliant comedy act. That is quite hard to see. While it is important to this movie and the story, it is hard to watch and go, that was right, we did that to our best comedy act. Great. But anyway, for me, they're my 3 ups and 3 downs. I do give this movie a 4.5 out of 5 because I did really enjoy it. I felt like this is one of those that should be slapped into those Oscar nominations, because it's a lot better than a few of the ones getting circled around the Oscars this year. I won't mention names because I'm sure I'm going to do an Oscar video where I'm just going to complain a lot. So let me know what you think of Stan and Ollie in the comments below, and until next time, I will see you guys in the future.